Anna's father slapped her hard across the face. The only reason was that she had argued with her stepmother a few moments earlier. At that moment, Anna finally realized something. There was no longer any place for her in that house. She quietly picked up the photo of her late mother and walked out the door. But her stepmother had no intention of letting her leave so easily. Soon after Anna left, the woman secretly sent a group of thugs to intercept her. When Anna saw several men suddenly appear in front of her, she panicked and started running. She ran desperately down the empty road. In her panic, she ran straight into a man standing in the middle of the street. That man was Benjamin. The moment Benjamin saw Anna's face, he froze in shock. The girl looked exactly like his mother. The resemblance was almost unbelievable. Behind her, the thugs were already closing in. Benjamin did not hesitate. He stepped forward and knocked the first man to the ground with a single punch. The rest of them rushed toward him, but none of them were a match for him. Within seconds, the attackers scattered and ran away. Only then did Anna finally catch her breath. Grateful to the man who had just saved her, she invited him back to her small home. She had no idea that the quiet man standing in front of her was actually a powerful CEO feared throughout the business world. What she also did not know was something even more dangerous. 3 years earlier, she had been responsible for the death of his fiancée. 3 years ago, Anna had been one of the most promising lawyers in the country. Her future looked limitless, but a single car accident destroyed everything. In that accident, she killed Benjamin's fiancée overnight. Her life collapsed. Her own fiancé, Jack, immediately cut ties with her. Even her family treated her like a curse. Anna was sent to prison for 3 years. After she was released, her law license had already been revoked. With no career left, she became a street cleaner. Every day she worked in the most unnoticed corners of the city, barely surviving. Meanwhile, the victim's younger sister still carried deep hatred in her eyes. 3 years in prison was far too light a punishment for Anna. Even worse, Anna's former boyfriend Jack had now grown close to that very woman. The two of them were happily preparing for their engagement ceremony the following week. As for Anna, Jack only watched her life from a distance with cold indifference. Seeing the once proud woman now sweeping the streets only made him feel that her life was more miserable than death. That day happened to be the anniversary of Benjamin's fiancée's death. Just like every year, he had the road where the accident occurred temporarily sealed off. He came alone to remember her. The entire street was quiet and heavy with grief. What he did not know was that someone else was also passing through that same road. Anna had just finished work and was heading home. And by coincidence, several hired thugs were already waiting there. They had been paid to take Anna's life. Anna ran desperately along the empty road to escape them. In the end, Benjamin saved her without realizing who she was. He had no idea that the woman he rescued was the same person responsible for his fiancée's death years ago. Anna brought him back to her small apartment. She prepared new toiletries for him and cooked a bowl of hot tomato and egg noodles. Benjamin remained silent the entire time, simply accepting everything she arranged. When Anna noticed that his hair was still wet, she instinctively reached for a towel to dry it. Benjamin's body immediately tensed, and his eyes turned sharp and cold. But Anna assumed he was still shaken from the attack. She awkwardly tried to explain that she only wanted to help. Early the next morning, Benjamin's subordinates finally located him. They handed him a detailed report. Only then did he learn the truth. The woman who had taken him in the night before was Anna, the same woman who had killed his fiancée 3 years earlier. Benjamin stared at the report in silence. His expression became complicated. There was hatred, there was confusion, and there was also a strange feeling he could not explain. For 3 years he had been planning revenge. Now the target of that revenge was right in front of him. Yet somehow he had become the person she protected and pitied. At the same time, Anna received a phone call from home. That day was the anniversary of her mother's death. She returned to the house she had not stepped into for 3 years. What greeted her there was not family warmth. Instead, she faced cold demands. Her stepmother and father forced her to ask her former boyfriend for money. They wanted the money to support her younger sister's dream of becoming a celebrity. They even admitted that abandoning Anna years ago had been necessary. In their eyes, cutting ties with her had simply been a way to avoid offending Benjamin. Anna's heart finally turned completely cold. She realized that in her family's eyes, she had always been nothing more than a burden that could be sacrificed at any time. Her father's loud slap shattered the last illusion she had about that family. Without another word, Anna turned around and walked away. That moment marked the final break between her and that so-called home. Exhausted both physically and emotionally, she returned to her small rented apartment. She expected nothing but loneliness waiting for her inside. But when she pushed the door open, she saw Benjamin sitting quietly in the room. He had not left. It looked as if he had been waiting for her the whole time. Benjamin immediately noticed the swelling on her face. His expression darkened. He asked who had hit her. Anna did not answer. Instead, she quietly took out her mother's photo and lit a stick of incense. She forced a smile and told the photo that she was doing well. She said she had a job now and could take care of herself. She even mentioned that someone was living with her now, so there was no need to worry. Benjamin stood nearby and listened to her words. He knew every sentence was a lie. A woman who had just left prison, working the lowest job in the city and being rejected by her own family, was pretending that everything was fine. For the first time, something inside Benjamin began to crack. During dinner, Anna learned that Benjamin was 27 years old, the same age as her. She also discovered that he had no family left. In that moment, the two lonely people seemed to recognize something familiar in each other. Anna smiled and suggested that if that was the case, he could call her older sister from now on. Benjamin quietly agreed. He decided to stay. The plan for revenge still existed in his mind, but the person who was supposed to carry out that revenge had now moved into his enemy's home and become her so-called younger brother. From the very beginning, the entire game had already gone far off course. Looking at the woman standing in front of him, completely unaware of who he really was, Benjamin felt something he had never expected. For the first time in 3 years, his determination for revenge began to waver.